Welcome to the Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
Yeah, well, when I was little, my father dubbed me StephA. That was his nickname for me. He'd be like, StephA, ven aquí, StephA, StephA. So, it's like a little Spanglish kind of name going on. But as I got older, I realized it's funny how it's StephA, but my last name starts with an A, Andujar. So I was like, hey, that kind of works. Like my father was onto something, not even realizing it connected kind of cool. So it's a cool little nickname instead of, always saying Stephanie or Stephanie Andujar, StephA. Oh golly, like I don't know, I think ever since I was about 12 or 13, starting out acting on stage, dancing, singing, that's when I started just getting comfortable and playing around with comedy. And when they put me in little comedic roles, and then as I got into high school, when I went to Talent Unlimited High School, that's when I started getting into more dramatic theater and then playing around with that. And it was more of just getting comfortable and seeing how it worked for me, if I could handle some comedy. And I think it just naturally started coming about. And I was like, oh snap, like this is pretty cool. I don't mind playing dramatic or comedic. I think just because it was another outlet to be whoever you want. I love who I am. Big ups to who I am, self-love. But when you get to play a different character now, you get to express yourself. And I think that's what I loved about it. And then just made sure now, have the comedic part, have the dramatic part at my disposal, so, and I always love, I think what motivates me too, to make sure I have those tools set, is to always do justice for these parts that I play. My motivation was always either make them cry, laugh, or just have a good time. Oh, comedy. I think comedy. Because I think I would just be happy laughing on set all the time. Well, I remember being maybe about like 5, 6 years old, and my parents would have like little parties in the house, like late at night with their friends. And they were always like, Stella, come over here, entertain our friends. And I'd come out, it's showtime. I was a big Beetlejuice fan. So it's showtime. That was like my big one-liner. But ever since then, I think my parents saw that I wasn't shy. I was willing to go out and put myself out there, be vulnerable, and just, absorb it. And then that's when, about 11, 12, that's when I got into an after-school program, the Beacon after-school program my mom put me into. And then from then on, that's when I figured out what my calling was. And I was in the Wiz play, and I got to be the Scarecrow. And from then on, I was like, yep, this is what I want to do. And then Talent Unlimited came along, and I did a lot of theater performances with them. Then I went to Pace University, and it just snowballed into getting parts and sticking with it. And I think it's helped me develop a thick skin too, going into it. I majored in business with concentration in hospitality, actually. I came from acting, and I was going to major in drama there, but I wanted something different. I wanted to learn something different. I felt like already after 4 years in high school, I knew the craft. And I was like, you know what? Let me get some business experience. So I thought maybe going into hospitality would do it. While I was learning that, I was also learning facets of contracts and accounting and all these different aspects of business, which then helped me turn into now going into Andujar Productions, my own production company. I mean, it really wasn't the plan. It just kind of fell into place as now content creators became a thing, So then that's when it just happened. It is pretty tough, I would say, with certain things. What motivates you is just the love of acting first. You just want to perform. You just want to put your talent out there. Then there's a lot of other things that kind of get into it that you're like, I don't know if I can handle this. I can't handle maybe sometimes not eating some nights, or, being that starving artist, or, going to auditions and being told no, or sometimes yes. And at first I would think that way, but then I said, no, you know what? If this is what I want to do, that was my motivating factor. And I've been through a lot, growing up, with my family not coming from much, that I didn't look at it like, let me do this so I could be famous or so I could make quick money. Because if you want to make quick money in this business, that's not gonna happen. It doesn't usually happen like that, but I think what motivated me was my family, where I came from. So even if maybe your family may not support you and you don't have that kind of support, I think what should motivate you is what you came from. If you really came from nothing, if you really went through something there, that should be your motivating factor to say, you know what, I'm going to keep on going because I'm doing a lot better than maybe the next person would be. Maybe I'm a little more blessed in that sense. And then just, if you have it there, where I always go to, where there's a will, there's a way. You have to believe in yourself. I'm always like that. I always think that way all the time. Oh boy, they're all like a baby, right? Like, and I love all my babies. That's a tough one. Precious was really amazing. That was my first film that I got into, that I auditioned for the part of Rita Romero. And that was a blessing, and that came about. No one knew where that movie was going to go, but I always felt like, nah, this movie's going to touch a lot of people. It was amazing when it won Sundance and then went on to win so many more accolades. That was always my starting point right there. And then after that, that's when I started getting other bit roles, and then Orange is the New Black came up too. And then when Orange came up, that one was one of my favorites too, because I got to actually do an action scene now. I got to like dominate my men, and rob some banks, which I wouldn't recommend in real life. But it was fun, and I felt like, now I'm a hardcore female action Latina here that's going on, so that was cool to represent. And then after that, that's Marjorie Prime was also nice to do. I got to work with some really amazing actors there: Gina Davis, Tim Robbins, John Hamm, Lois Smith, and that was a nice experience, And then Blue Bloods also came, and when Blue Bloods came, that was really nice. I got to do some more action again. I think that's another, to go back to what else would I love to do? I love to do action. Action's fun. I love to go and run around and be a little crazy, maybe do my own stunts, which I do in my own StephA one-woman show anyway. But I think they were all my favorites just because they all got me to the next level. So I think there's not one favorite. I think they're all my favorites, really. Yeah. It feels good. It feels nice, to know that you can open doors for other Latinas and other females that just want to make it in this business. Because being a Latina, but being a female as well, when you're trying to navigate in this business, it could be a little tough. You just want that kind of respect going forward to say, look, it hasn't been easy. You don't want to compromise yourself too much to get a part, to put yourself out there. And I think I've held on to my dignity as long as I could to really go forward. And I just hope that it sets a good example for other Latinas or just other females in general that just want to make it, because they can look at me and say, you know what, if she did it and she went through all that stuff, I can do it too. And you came from a certain background, you can do it. It doesn't matter what you come from. There's always something for somebody. So I'm really proud and honored that I can just open up another door for anyone else that wants to come in, Yeah, it started in early 2016. My family, because going back, they were a big supportive system for me in growing up in the business. And I was always being a part of somebody else's project, getting these roles and auditioning. But a part of me felt like that wasn't enough. I said, you know what? I think I could bring something to the table now. I think I could finally add my creativity. And then that's when I started. I said, you know what, Mom, I think I want to start a production company. We'll call it Andujar Productions. She was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, why didn't I think of that? That's perfect stuff. Oh, amazing. I said, all right, so let's see what happens. And from then on, my sister, Melanie, who also produces with us my StephA one-woman show, she said, why don't you make episodes? And I said, okay, let me make some episodes about my upbringing here in New York and show people that I could play different characters. Because, going into auditions too, there's always usually a bit of you don't want to get stereotyped. You don't want to be pigeonholed, into certain parts. You're like, I can do more than this though. I can be funny. I can be crazy. I could do whatever y'all want. So I said, you know what, I think this is what I have to do to show people that I have a lot going on, that I have a lot to offer. And then that's when my StephA One Woman Show was born, and now I'm in my 5th season of it. I've been doing it for so long just because it also keeps me on my toes. You know, they're always saying go to acting class, go see a coach, make sure you're always, you know, honing your craft and keeping yourself fine-tuned. But I feel like, well, then if you have that talent, if you have something, just anything there, whether you just make a little TikTok video or an Instagram video, you're being creative. You're putting it out there in the universe for everybody else to enjoy. And then that's when it started for me. And I said, you know, now we can make music videos. And my brother Hector's a graphic artist, an artist. He makes a lot of art under that name too. So it's just all of us being creative, being able to share it with everyone. It's pretty cool. I mean, there's moments too where sometimes, you know, we want to like wring each other's throats every now and then. Like, we don't agree on something, you know. But I think it's cool because obviously they supported what I do, and they can give me honest feedback if something doesn't work or if something's not right. It's an honest, good critique. It's not really criticism. It's not like, oh, but you didn't do that. It's like saying, no, you've done this stuff. Well, this is good, but now let's make it like this. And why don't you add this to it and do that? And then we all piggyback on each other's ideas, which is pretty cool. And it makes me proud to leave a name with my family. So in case if I ever decide to have kids one day, if I do, you know, I don't know, God bless, I can leave them something. I can leave something behind for my kids and my family. I think that's what I love about it. And I think it's pretty cool. You can work with your family and it's not a big issue. Sometimes. You know, well, you have a little more control. You have more of a creative say in what you're doing and what you're putting out. And then when you're working on someone else's, it's just being part of a different kind of team now. You know, a different team effort, group effort, making sure you listen to what they want, because it's always either the director or screenwriter's vision or producer's vision, and I'm just a piece of the puzzle. So I'm happy to fulfill their vision and whatever they want. And I'm for it. You know, I'm not like, well, you should do this. Only if they say, Steph, we're going to give you some producer credit. And I'll be like, okay, great. Now let me get my word in now. But I'm happy to fulfill someone else's vision, as opposed to if it's just mine, then I'm good to go and you have a lot more control. And sometimes I don't mind being part of somebody else's vision, because at least now somebody else has the control and I don't have to worry about editing and what am I going to do with this? They take away that responsibility for a while. So sometimes it's like a good break away. You know, what started it too was my sister and I were big like John Leguizamo fans. And we went to his live show. We went to the Sexaholic show, I remember we saw live, and that was pretty fun. But my sister, she always felt like I can play different characters. You know, my mother always felt that way. And my sister really was like, you should do a one-woman show. And I didn't know if I wanted to do it on the stage or if I wanted to do like a film version of it. I didn't know yet. And she said, no, do episodes of just, you know, different characters, some from our family, some that you met growing up. I said, all right, let me try this. And at first it was more like coming from my perspective of how I grew up. And then it just changed into now giving these characters something to do. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's all improv too. So I'll just say a line or I'll just think of a scenario and then go from there. And then that's when every year now it's become kind of a tradition. I don't feel complete if I'm not doing these episodes with these characters, you know. And then I have a little fan base that started growing with it, and they were liking it too. I get tweets all the time. I get different direct messages about it. So I knew I had something there. And like I said, it keeps me on my toes because I'm playing like almost 10 or 11, 12 characters. So it's also keeping my craft in tune. You know what I mean? It's keeping me in tune. Instead of waiting for the next job or waiting to get an audition or whatever have you, I'm still auditioning for stuff. But in the meantime, I'm creating my characters and I'm having fun doing it. And I get to laugh. I get to make blooper reels, which is pretty fun, you know. But I think what kept it going is just that, like I said, it keeps me laughing and it keeps me on point, you know. Yeah. Oh boy, you know, it's really just expanding on Andujar Productions. I would love to expand on Andujar Productions, hire a bunch of different other actors, create different projects, keep creating more projects. I have so many other ideas in my head going on now for the production company. So it's really about making Andujar Productions you know, a real big studio, just so I can also, like I said, so I can hire a lot of other actors and give other actors chances. You know, right now it's just me because I'm putting it out there to make my company huge, or, you know, to leverage on myself instead of leveraging right now on other actors just to say, well, let me use them to get some publicity or this, that. That's not what I'm about. I'm about now, if I have the means and the capability to hire different actors and such, now I feel good about it, you know? And then I like to direct too, so I don't mind being behind the scenes of something else I'm doing. So it's really just, yeah, I want to make Andujar Productions really big, you know? And then hopefully you can do another interview in the future for Andujar Productions, and it'll be amazing. I think what motivated me was my family, where I came from. So even if maybe your family may not support you and you don't have that kind of support, I think what should motivate you is what you came from. If you really came from nothing, if you really went through something there, that should be your motivating factor.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.